think I'm going to shave this off. But when I do that, I'm going to keep this, the mustache. That was kind of why I was growing. I had a big full beard, and then last year I shaved all that off and went clean shaven for the first time in, I don't know, 20 years, 15 years. Then just in the last few weeks, grew this in because a friend of mine has a mustache and suggested that I would look pretty good with one as well. So I don't know that I will, but I'm going to see. And I didn't want to go straight to the mustache. Right, so that's what this is. Anyway, today I want to talk about meditation, and particularly what it is to meditate when you're not feeling great. Like the last few days, I have had a cold. Now, fortunately, I haven't had, it's not COVID and it's not the influenza that's going around right now, because I know a bunch of people at work that are getting the flu and then they're out of commission, like hard out of commission for a week or more. I had a sore throat and was very groggy for a few days, and I just slept a lot. Went to bed early, got up early. Got up late, um, and I'm starting to feel better. Uh, but I did meditate during those 3 days when I was really feeling like a sore head, sore throat, physically heavy. And I think there's a couple of interesting observations that can come from meditating while you're sick. And I'm going to try and break those down into like observation of what it feels like, some ways to overcome it, and then ultimately, is there actually something to learn from that sensation of really not feeling good? So to start with, like when we sit, we're always experiencing something, right? We're always experiencing something that we might call good, might call bad. Uh, I don't think it doesn't feel good to have a cold. It doesn't feel good to have the flu. But that word, good, bad, that judgment is an addition on the sensation, right? The sensation of sitting, the sensation of being in and of itself is uh, pressure, weight, contact, right? And then we apply stories to that. And often those stories are undeniable. My knee hurts. My knee hurts. I don't like that, right? The sensation is the sensation. The dislike is entirely my story. But it's a story that I find very compelling, and often um, to the point where I move. Uh, and what's changed when I move? Has the pain gone away? No, not really. Would the pain have gone away if I didn't move? Maybe. Yes, eventually. Uh, did I have a dagger in my knee? Like, was I going to... Because I'm not going to be stupid, right? If I'm really going to break my knee, stop doing it. But that ability to skillfully recognize what's the story and what's the reality, that's a big part of meditating. So I sit there and I have a sore throat and my head is groggy. Well, sometimes I feel that way, minus the sore throat perhaps, but if I've overeaten, I'm trying to meditate after a big meal. Uh, Particularly in the beginning, um, when you're first starting to meditate, try to cultivate a space that makes it easy. Don't meditate after a big meal. If you're tired after eating, don't try to meditate. Right? There's no reason to make it as difficult as it can be. In fact, there's a lot to be said for making it as easy as it can be. So one of the first things that I could do, you could do, we could do when we're not feeling well, don't meditate. Rest. Sleep. Do something else. There'll be time. But if I have chosen to meditate, which I did, then uh, simply being very aware of what the story of being sick entails, right? Like, because uh, I come at it with a lifetime of feeling lousy when I have a cold and worried that I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. I have a class that I want to go to next week, a 4-day workshop. If I have COVID or a cold and I'm not going to do well, that's going to upset me. I'm thinking about all of that a week before it's even started. So I can use the illness, the not feeling well, as a crash course in separating the story from the experience. So like I say, at any given moment, on any given day when I'm meditating, I have a physical experience. I have one right now. My head is a little sore back here. You know, um, my nose is a bit stuffed. My muscles are aching a little bit. All of these are things that exist all the time. So why then pick a moment and say, I don't feel well here? There's a threshold, right? All of these are interesting things to be thinking about when I meditate, not feeling well. They're also interesting things to think about meditating when I feel good. When I feel like, oh, I'm on top of the world at work. I got a great compliment yesterday. Um, oh, I'm feeling very rarefied. I've meditated, hours a day for the last few weeks. I'm really rolling. That's a story as well. So feeling ill, not feeling well, is sort of a concretization of the kind of experiences that we have all the time. It's just a little bit easier to dissect and to analyze when it's right in front of me, like, oh, I just want to go back to bed. The 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 cloud of uh, story is so much more present. In the last few months, when my knee hurts, I have tried to really look at it that way and say, look, this is a moment of hypervigilance. I should be grateful for this. I'm not breaking my knee. It's just uncomfortable. I just don't like it. Well, I could change the situation. But then I'm responding not to the situation, but to my thinking about the situation. The cycle of clarity and stability uh, is, in some ways, easier to see when we know that there's a block. Right? On a day when I feel good, I might think, look at me, I'm clear, I'm rational, I'm stable, I'm not covered with delusion. But when I feel groggy, it's a manifestation of it, right? Can't deny it. I feel groggy. I feel groggy. Every part of that is up for grabs, right? It's up for interpretation. Okay, so then, but the thing is, there are practices that will make me feel less groggy. There are healing chants that I can do, at least excuse me, in the, sorry, my ear is feeling clogged up as part of my not feeling well. Um, there's breathing exercises that, when you have a cold, the breathing exercises can clear up the nasal passages. If you're tuned into the idea of energy channels, they can clear the energy channels. If you think that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo, well, then think of it as opening up the sinuses, with controlled breathing. Visualization of healing practices, healing energy, healing deities. That's a big part of the Bon Buddhist tradition. On any given moment, I don't know how much import I give to all of that, but over the course of my life, I actually do avow that the available practices of Sipagalmo and Yeshawamo, in particular, the two healing practices that we do a lot, that I practice a lot, have minimized the impact of sort of my ongoing health conditions. I have paralyzed vocal cords after surgery 10 years ago. I couldn't talk. I sounded like this. I sounded like that for 2 years. And I'm convinced that a combination of trying to chant, right, and the visualization of the chanting is what eventually, my cords are still paralyzed, but I can speak like this. I can't shout very loud. I can't sing very well. I never could sing any very well before, but I have real strong sense that the sort of the tantric practices, the visualization and transformation practices, are potent, and those are available to us as meditators. They're available even if you're not part of the Tibetan tradition where they come, right? The idea of yogic breathing is always going to be beneficial. I tend to think of it, I tend to interact with it still very much in a in the story. I'm interacting with my story with another story. But sitting upright, deep breath, that's always going to feel good. But then ultimately, right, I was kind of getting to this, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself earlier, but the idea that I may feel groggy, excuse me, my body may feel out of sorts, a bit gassy, but my muscles may ache, I may have a bit of a fever, but the part of me, the part of awareness that understands all of that is always clear. And in a funny way, the worse I feel, the more distraction or agitation or discomfort I feel, the easier it is for me to step back and become aware from that open space. And it's not that the discomfort goes away, and it's not that I am no longer ill, although I think that that is a possibility. It's not where I'm at. But I think it's possible to become so kind of openly associated with clear awareness that the feeling groggy, feeling ill becomes just a tiny fraction of your entire sense field. And all of that sense field is based on clarity, luminosity, and in this case, general well-being. That step from the conscious sensations to the broader awareness is, I think, the key switch in meditation practice, because from there, the embodiment of compassion becomes natural. The fear of death evaporates because consciousness is embedded within the body, but not part of the body. From my perspective, right, so take this with a grain of salt as to where I'm at with my practice. But, and you, please, if you have deeper or different experiences, please share them, because this is all just where I'm at. But there's not a sense of personality in that openness, but there is a sense of belonging, right? And a sense that the position I'm in now, with sore muscles and a clogged head, stuffy throat, is a position in this moment that it's not even there now. It won't be there tomorrow. It's different from what it was yesterday. So why should I connect with this now, right now, to the exclusion of the full range of sensations as available in this immediate moment, but also understanding of the forces that have brought me to this point, the innumerable decisions and inputs that have brought this here now. So, yeah, being ill, being sick, not having the perfect embodiment or environment to practice in can actually draw these into sharper relief because it's easier to think that feeling good is what the point is. But when you're meditating, when you don't feel good, what's left? What's left if I say feeling sick is not where I am right now? Where am I? What is it? What is really happening? Anyway, I think that's good for today. Always questions, comments, corrections, criticisms, please drop a note. Let me know what you think. I do really enjoy getting messages. You can email me from the website. This is important. So keep your wits about you.